Production of Michigan Outdoors is made possible in part by the Stroh Brewery Company, a family-owned brewery, and its distributors throughout Michigan.
Bird you're looking at right here you might recognize as being a partridge, a pat maybe. That's what a lot of people call them, including myself, but the technical name is ruffed grouse. That's a drumming ruffed grouse, and it's one of its breeding postures, which occurs in the spring, and Rob Guinn, you captured it with the brush and palette. Our Wildlife Artist of the Year, who did our Best of Show painting out of 10 categories. This guy's painting was ranked as at least being the most popular. We're going to talk about some of the reasons why that painting is, why you seem to have developed a style that is caught on in wildlife painting. But you know what I'm glad to see?
What's that?
That you're not only adept with a brush, but you have a gun which I think is probably the classiest of all types of guns to hunt with. Over and under. You're a hunter.
Absolutely. I think most wildlife artists are. You almost have to be accurate in your work. Participate in the outdoors, and because let's face it, you know, most of the people that buy my work and other wildlife artists are outdoorsmen or at least naturalists.
Well, you know, grouse hunting is associated with, some people think maybe grouse hunters are kind of snobby, you know, they shoot these expensive over and unders. They're called a gentleman's gun. You know why an over and under though is called a gentleman's gun or a double barrel?
No idea.
Because you can break them like this. When you're standing around with a group, open them, and your hunting partners can see that it's unloaded.
Unloaded.
Yeah, it can't be fired.
Puts everybody at ease.
That's right. So that's why it's called a gentleman's gun. It isn't to be snooty or anything like that. But grouse hunters hunt with they hunt a stylish bird with stylish guns, and they have stylish dogs. English setters, which I think are about the classiest to look at. We're going to take you on a grouse hunt. We're going to talk about Rob Guinn's painting, his Best of Show. We're going to take you through the woods in just a moment, so you stay tuned. It's Thursday night, time for Michigan Outdoors.
From the rugged shore and woodlands of the north, it's history of copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fisheries. To the farmlands of the southern counties we'll look around again at all that waits the sportsman in the state of Michigan.
Well, this looks easy enough right now. We're walking through the, you know, if grouse hunting was like this, we could get lots of pictures of it.
Oh, that would be real easy to shoot.
Sure, 50 feet off the road, it's nice, but when we get back to where the grouse live, it's a tougher situation. They're hard to hunt on foot by yourself. Even with a group of fellas, you almost always need a dog to pick up the scent of these unruly little critters. They're fast when they fly, they hold tight, and if you listen, you're going to hear a beeping. That's on the collar of Sam, the black English setter right there. He ranges far and wide, oftentimes out of sight, and that electronic collar will stop beeping when he finds a bird and when he stops and holds still. That's how we located where he was right here. The collar stopped, and then after about 15 seconds, it starts to slow, steady beep to help you find that bird. We're looking for grouse, and now the cover's getting a little thicker. Sorry about the sound, folks, but that's all we can get when we're stumbling through the underbrush. Now, the two dogs that Tom Prodzic has are just classy, excellent bird dogs. They hold tight on point. Right here, you're going to see in the right side of your frame, you can see a little patch of white. This is why the white English setters are popular among grouse hunters. It's difficult to, now, right up in the right-hand corner, there was a dog's ear and head. Sam is over here, locked in. A brown dog with no white on it is difficult to see in grouse cover. Now you're going to watch a rabbit pop out to the right in just a second. We didn't know what was in there. We're walking all around saying, what, is the bird gone? There goes a rabbit. Of course, the question is, I said, Tom, were they pointing a rabbit? That's a heck of a thing for a grouse dog. The dog's broke. Look how birdie it is. Look at that. There goes the woodcock.
Get him, Bob? Yep. Good.
Well, our Bob Garner on his first shot of the morning got that woodcock.
Right behind the camera.
You know, that bird was right amongst all of us. We were walking all around it, and it held that tight. That's it, a little woodcock.
Oh, was that something for a recipe right there?
Yeah, it is something for a recipe. You have to be creative on woodcock recipes. They eat worms, you know.
You sure do.
Listening up. I'm going to walk in.
There's the steady beeping
Okay, and then you can widen
on
out.
Sam's collar.
Did he roll because you stopped him?
This just gives me goosebumps to look at this tape. It's so exciting. You don't know where the bird is going to be.
It should give every grouse hunter goosebumps.
Yeah, it's great.
This, honestly, I'm happy with the tape we got on this coming back because it was so difficult to tape, but it still isn't like being there. You know, you can't really see the dogs. There goes. There goes another empty shell back into my pocket.
A good, clean miss,
Good,
Fred.
clean miss, that's right.
You got a lot of those that day.
Yeah, well, okay, Bob, easy. By the end of the day, I got pretty good, though. But look how thick this is. And Dick Best and O.J. Opotniaks hauled the 50, 60 pounds of equipment through the brush for hours.
In fact, we even had batteries in our game bag.
Right. There it is, locked up on point. There's Jack, and that is a beautiful sight. When they lock in like that, you know the bird is there someplace in front of them. They don't often, these dogs don't come up on false points too often. But where is the bird? You know, you're on edge every second. You don't know if it's going to pop out behind you, to the right, or the left. Here it goes.
I hit the tree.
A dead tree.
A dead tree, that's right.
I should get a commendation for that.
That is not infrequent.
Can I have it mounted, Fred?
No, I let that one, that'll just grow with a funny spot on the bark. But this dog work really excited me. There's the beep, the irregular beeping on that electronic collar as the dog is moving. When it comes out onto point for 15 seconds, as soon as it stops, the beeping stops.
Well, that dog's got a snoot full of scent.
It does. That's Birdie.
Oh, yeah. But after a while, you...
Well, there's a
Jack.
stylish point.
It is. And it'll hold there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, as long as the bird doesn't move. There.
Those trees.
See those trees? Now, I missed the tree that time, and I missed the woodcock, too.
They're going around trees. They're going to slip around.
I developed more excuses that day than you can imagine.
Still, you shot pretty well.
I did. I got four woodcock when it was all said and done.
Rambling that single barrel.
There. The dog broke. That's probably because the bird moved. Exciting. We're all getting into position.
Oh, that's pretty.
And I'm sorry, folks, that we couldn't bring you a lot of shots of the birds flying. But they get out there so fast, the camera sees just about as much as we see.
Trying to see him on the ground, but I can't.
And you can see why the dog work is really the most exciting part
Jack is locked
of
up
hunting
over
grouse and woodcock.
Yeah, again, he's pretty reliable. There it goes.
there. Get him. Oh, right.
Well, Tom got that
was a
one.
woodcock?
Yeah, right.
Oh, I thought that was a grouse.
No, woodcock got up there.
I'll be darned.
No, it's like buck, is it?
Well, we were looking for grouse. We spent quite a bit of time on it. And our compliments and gratitude to O.J. Opotniaks and Dick Best for, they really earned their keep that day. Not only did the dogs, but they were working every bit as hard as the dogs to bring you this footage. But there's it. There's a woodcock, little worm-eating bird. Gets night crawlers down in the soil. They're a migratory bird, and as soon as we get I don't know if we're going to have a winter here or not. Do you, Bob?
Well, I think we are, but and the woodcock are going to be moving on.
Well, the grouse is what we were looking for. We got a grouse the day I hunted with you on Sunday.
That's right. In fact, we didn't get one woodcock flush,
Nope.
which is kind of unusual.
And we ended up the next day going for grouse with 2 dogs and flushed a couple, but nothing
4
but,
flushes, that's right.
yeah, nothing but excuses there. Well, this ruffed grouse, let's tell people a little bit about this painting that you did, drumming ruffed grouse. And here's a mounted ruffed grouse here in the drumming posture. What's it doing, Rob?
Well, he's drumming. Now, a lot of people think that the grouse just drums during mating season, but this isn't true. A grouse drums year-round. During the mating season or in the spring, they drum a little more frequently than they do in the fall.
And all they're trying to do is set up a territory then.
That's right.
Right, they're cupping their
And
wings,
calling them
beating their
females.
wings very fast, and that's what you portrayed in your painting. We asked you to bring a rough sketch, and this is what you worked from?
This is a real rough thumbnail, just something to start, a starting point on any painting. You have to start somewhere to kind of lay out design and balance.
Well, I see your X's, and you've gone through, I'm sure, the principles of layout, where the subject should be and so on. But, you know, the thing that really stands out in the painting, aside from the excellent composition, is the detail of the bird, but the mood with the mist in the background.
Well, there you've hit on 2 important variables in any flat art, really, is detail and mood, at least in my opinion. Those are the two most important variables to sell, that people look for.
Some artists have mood paintings and other artists have detail paintings, and you put both of them together.
Yeah.
And that's why your paintings, that's why you came out the best to show, I think.
Well,
You've hit it at the right time, Rob.
I got lucky.
And also, this guy's a hunter. That's another reason we wanted to have him down here.
makes
He's a
it even
grouse
better.
hunter and a deer hunter and a bow hunter.
That's right.
And in fact, right now, we're going to shift gears from grouse and talk to something about something dear to the hearts of many hunters right now, about deer hunting in our Michigan Outdoors Trophy Report. Sean Howitt from Mount Clemens is a lucky fellow. At 16 years old, he got a 9-point buck as his first deer last year, hunting around Merritt. That's just west of Houghton Lake. I'll tell you, that's a nice way to break into deer hunting. I know the rack doesn't look all that big in this picture, and it isn't. John Bailey from Cohocton says this 8-point buck is quite different from the other two 8-pointers he's taken, though. His others had the same size rack, and they came from the Gladwin area, but they only weighed about 125 pounds each. But last year, he hunted his back 40 in Livingston County, and this corn-fed buck weighed 237 pounds. You know, it's those freezer trophies that I like to see. There are still a lot of big deer in the UP, too. Maybe not as big in body, but big in the racks. Jim Bowers from Saginaw hunts the Marquette area, and last year he took this 12-pointer on the third day of the season. 24-inch main beams, 19-inch spread, and 9-inch tines. Beautiful rack. But you know, Southwest Michigan is also noted for big bucks with big racks. Ron Johnson from Marcellus got this 13-pointer in Cass County last season. It scored 152 as a typical buck in commemorative bucks and 163 non-typical. We can put that one in the record book. But look at this picture. Tom Stanky from Monroe sent me this photo with this letter. Enclosed, find a picture of 4 bucks my son and I shot in the UP near Lantz. The 10-point I shot in 1980. The 9-point was my son's first deer when he was 17 years old. The 8-point was also my son's deer in 1981. And the 7-point I shot last year. We are the first to tell how lucky we are to have the record shown in this picture. But Tom Stanky goes on to say, the person in this picture did not shoot the deer. Well, who is he, Tom? I don't know what to do. I have no choice, really. I have a letter from you telling a good deer story, but I have a photo of a fellow who sure looks like he bagged these bucks. I'd say this unnamed fellow was in the right place at the right time. Maybe not to get these deer, but to take the credit. No, we're just going to have to name him our Michigan Outdoors most likely looking trophy hunter of the week.
Well, those are some great pictures, Fred, in the trophy report, and I'd like to claim credit and say that was some relative of mine standing in that last picture, but it wasn't. By the way, this week's outdoor headlines, well, really we're looking back at some headlines we talked about in the last few weeks. I told you that the governor and Ron Skoog, the director of the Department of Natural Resources, were going to get together and form an Indian fishing strategy. It happened this past week. It's a strategy of cooperation, and probably the most that sportsmen are going to see out of that strategy right away is a reduction in the number of lake trout you'll be able to take from all waters of the state of Michigan, and that number should go down to 2. Now, some great news for turkey hunters. The turkey areas have been increased, and the number of permits have been increased. The turkey area is increased by about 300 square miles. Number of permits about 3,000 more than last year, and those not taken in the initial draw will be available at DNR offices on a first-come, first-served basis. Antlerless permits were mailed out last Monday. In case you're checking your mailbox every day, they should be to you this week. Representative Jerry Bartnick has also introduced a bill that will allow the Department of Natural Resources to set, in some part, some of the fees for put-take hunting so the program can finance itself, and we may be able to keep put-take in the future. And some great news this week, too. The governor has signed the non-game checkoff bill. It is law. Watch for it on your income tax forms when you get them in January. And that's the really good news this week in the outdoor headlines.
Yeah, well, it's amazing, Bob. You know, I think most of us are thinking about hunting so much and out there. I wasn't aware that the legislators are evidently pounding it out down at the Capitol.
Well, they really are. They're moving a lot of bills real quick right now.
Well, that's good. Well, Ed, we get a lot of mail, tons of it. We've sorted through to pull out some of our hunting questions. Why don't you see what we have?
All right, here we go. Last year, there was an attempt to start the deer gun season on the Saturday nearest the 15th of November, or to get a split season with a double opening. It failed then, but was supposed to be brought up again this year. Would you find out what the possibilities are of this passing this year?
Well, even last year, Ed, that was more rumor than it was fact. There really was never a bill introduced to do that. It was just talked about. So there is no bill this year in front of the legislature, nor do I hear of any being introduced. It's rumor. It's not going to happen this year, and definitely not in the near future.
Or ever.
That's that. Yeah, it could be. Well, those are people who can't get off during the week, you know, and that's just the,
I don't
way it
blame
goes.
them. I don't blame them
Right.
for trying.
Here's a question from Bay City. In October 1982, I shot a rooster pheasant that weighed 5.5 pounds. I had the bird mounted and was told by several people that I should have the bird checked for the record books. I would like to know, what is the state record for a ringneck pheasant?
First of all,
There isn't one, is there?
no. I checked with Pete Squibb, the pheasant biologist for the Department of Natural Resources. He says, no pheasant records are kept for the biggest one. That size bird, though, is a big bird. It was probably a put-take bird that was one of the original breeder birds that they used at the start of the season. It was probably shot on a put-take area, and that normally in the wild, a pheasant, it's really something to find them any more than 4 pounds.
Yeah, well, it's really something to find one. It's,
Yeah,
any
this
bird
year.
is almost a record bird anymore.
This
We might start up a commemorative Roosters of Michigan soon.
Here's one from Owasso. Could you please give us some information on a good area for public deer hunting with a camping area in the Upper Peninsula?
Well, the Upper Peninsula, you just about have your pick. Anywhere you go, there's more state and federal land up there than any place in Michigan. It's all open to camping. If you, especially on the state land, go to your DNR office and you can get a permit for camping. And what about the commercial land, Bob?
The Commercial
private stuff?
Forestry Act
Yeah.
land, there are many hundreds of thousands of acres of that owned by timber companies in the UP.
And how do you get onto that?
And, well, call the DNR Wildlife Division or the local offices of DNR up there, up in the UP, and they'll be able to tell you where those lands are at.
Lots of availability, though. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
And one more question from Muskegon Heights. I shot a perfect 10-point this year and would like to get the information you showed on how to get my deer rack certified.
That's easy nowadays. Since Commemorative Bucks has stepped into the picture, they're keeping records, the record book for all the trophy deer. Safari Club International also keeps records in deer. They have a different scoring system, and that's the system I believe we're going to be using with the DNR's Big Buck Contest. It's going to be Big Buck Night on December 8th. That's Thursday night, December 8th, right here. And we're going to have all kinds of information, especially after the opening of the season, on how to get this registered. But nice thing about Commemorative Bucks is it's free. There are measurers all over the state. It's just a cooperative effort.
They're
that
really
will-
doing hunters a service,
They
too.
certainly are. Now, speaking of perfect big 10-point racks, here's a rack that's almost a perfect 11-pointer. Glenn Campbell. You got this from Battle Creek. I bet everybody says, Glenn Campbell, how you doing?
Yeah.
Got a few of those jokes. Well, no jokes about this rack, though. This is a beauty. Have you had it measured yet?
No.
Think it's going to be a Pope and Younger?
I'm pretty sure it will be.
I think it might be. You know, the only thing I can see wrong with this is this tine right here that's supposed to match this tine got broken off, evidently. Tell me the story behind this. You got it north of Battle Creek. That's specific enough. Morning or evening?
In the evening.
Tree stand?
Yep. In tree stand.
Was he coming in with any other deer? Was he following does or
No,
anything?
He was all by himself.
How big a deer was he?
He weighed 195.5 pounds.
Wow. Huge. And when was that? How long ago?
That was October 5th.
Oh, right after the season started.
Yeah.
Now, you told me you saw quite a few deer
Yeah.
those first 5 days?
He was the 34th deer I'd seen in 5 days.
Man, how many bucks?
He was the only buck.
Oh, okay. Well, that tells a little story right there. Well, you were lucky. You going to go out gun season?
Oh, yeah. I
Well-
got one lined up.
Now, I want to take another look at your bow. I have only drawn this bow back once, and it's no wonder. You shoot how many pounds?
That's set just about 98 pounds, pretty close.
90. Yeah, that's what I thought when I pulled it back. It seemed like about 98. I'm going to see if I can't pull it back. Well, I think I'm going to have to do it this way. Oh, this is going to be embarrassing. Oh, okay. I got it back. Now I'm holding back how much weight?
About 50.
About 50 pounds. This
Pretty
is
close.
great. Oh, man, a 100-pound bow. Why do you do it?
It's comfortable.
Just because you can?
Yeah, I've been shooting that poundage a long time.
Really? How'd you get into shooting a bow this heavy?
Just gradually worked up.
You work out with weights or anything like that?
No, just with a bow.
You know, this is really more suitable for a whole deer herd than just one deer. That's something else. You think it gives you an advantage to have a faster bow?
Yeah, it takes a lot of the guesswork out of the yardage, and if you hit a bone, a lot of times I can go on through the bone.
Well, I tell you, you folks out there who recognize Glenn Campbell, you want to say, "Hi, Glenn, you're the Rhinestone Cowboy." He can pick you up by the scruff of the neck, I'll tell you that for sure. Well, Glenn, that's a great deer. Hope to see you down here on our big buck night, which is going to be December 8th. Bring that down, and we'll get that measured for you.
Okay.
And should be some good eating on that buck, too.
Oh, yeah. It's real good eat.
Was it in cornfield area like that?
Yeah, and farmlands.
Okay, well, that's good. We'll be talking about some venison recipes. We have a grouse recipe coming up in just a moment, but first let's do a rundown of our outdoor events with Ed Groves on the outdoor calendar.
You can find a handgun metallic silhouette shoot this weekend in Fenville and Clare. If you'd like more information on this or any event in our calendar, call Bill Swagler at the Michigan Travel Bureau, and Bill will give you the local phone number of the club or organization sponsoring the event. You can call him weekdays, toll-free, at 1-800-292-2520. The Bay City Rifle Club is holding its 21st annual Sight-In Days this weekend, where you can prepare your firearm for the upcoming deer season. Trap shoots on Sunday are in Linden and Muskegon, and our next Deer Hunters Workshop is Monday, November 7th at the Kent and Beltline Skill Center Auditorium in Grand Rapids. Glenn Dutterer and Fred will take you through the world of whitetail deer hunting, how to properly field dress your deer for food and trophy, how to use knowledge of deer behavior to increase your chances. Commemorative Bucks of Michigan will be on hand to measure racks, and if you bring in the largest rack not previously measured, you receive one of our limited edition wildlife art prints. Next week's workshops are Tuesday, November 8th at the Alba Community Building in Flint, Wednesday, November 9th at the Fowlerville High School just east of Lansing. And that's the Michigan Outdoors Outdoor Calendar.
Well, here is some grouse breast, Ed, that you are going to love.
I can tell.
Fortunately, we just got, we're going to have a woodcock recipe on in a couple weeks with those woodcock that we got from Tom Project. But this is sauteed grouse breast. Now, go ahead and try some.
They're ready to go at
toothpick.
them already?
Yeah, try some with the toothpick. Now that's just, all that is browned in butter, sauteed. Isn't it great that way? Okay, I have some more I'm going to add to it, but I'll show you what I'm doing here. This grouse is virtually all white meat. Even the legs are not very dark, because the grouse is not a bird like like chickens and so on that run a lot. So their meat is tender. There's a lot of meat on the breast, and here's a breast that I've taken off. I've filleted it off of this side. And I'm going to take this and cut it into bite-sized chunks. That's what I've done. Oh, you have to dig into that right now.
You know, this is tender. I was going to say, this isn't dry like you would think of white meat.
No, but it has virtually no fat. Wild game has very little fat, so you have to cook it with butter or some moist method of cookery. Now, I have this sautéing here in the frying pan in bite-sized pieces. This is a good hors d'oeuvre type of dish that you can prepare. Now, what I have here is some melted butter. What I'm going to add to it is, there's maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons. I'm going to add some lemon juice. I like to squeeze it, fresh lemon. Just makes it a little better, I think, than the reconstituted type and the concentrate. But that's lemon butter. Now, we've used this, you've used this a lot on fish. Now I'm going to take about a 1/4 teaspoon of parsley flakes. Not too much. These are dried. Again, I prefer to have the fresh kind, but they're not always available. And just a few leaves of tarragon. Okay, we're going to take this, put it on the stove, warm it up, and this is going to be the sauce that I want you to dip that grouse breast into.
All right.
Just let that cook right here for a second. Now, you don't cook these pieces of breast for more than 3 or 4 minutes. See how golden brown they're turning right here? They just turn white immediately. Very much like fish. Now we're going to turn those over and let them go for maybe a minute or so more. Now let's take some of this tarragon.
This is ready to go?
Butter. Go ahead, try that.
All right. This is just my favorite part of the job.
Oh, I know. It's tough to take, isn't it? Does that add or detract to you?
They're both really good.
But the sauce, it adds something different.
There's a little more spice to it, sure.
I'll show you what I'm going to add. The heart, the liver, and gizzard.
Oh.
I chopped that up, and I'm going to saute this too, and this will be, I think you'll find this is rather delectable as well. Not everybody likes the giblets. What do you think? Go through this one more time.
Okay.
There's a little sprinkling of tarragon. There's about a 1/4 teaspoon of dried parsley or fresh parsley chopped. Lemon butter is essentially what it is. And you can add a little salt and pepper on this if you want. I really shouldn't pepper things for other people because I'm a pepper freak. But a little salt and pepper. Try one more.
All right, I'll do that. Gladly.
Show the folks how this looks. These are essentially done. For as long as I've had them in here, they're essentially done. Small pieces like this don't take long to cook. You don't want to cook them so they're well done and they do get a little dry, because as you cook food, moisture comes out of the food, even if you boil potatoes in water. Did you know that the water comes out of the potatoes?
I didn't know that.
It does.
Huh.
But you try that.
All
I'll
right.
cook these giblets here.
I was going to say, you know, with every spice that you've added, the salt and the pepper, when you put them on here, it just has a little different. It depends on what you like, you know. If that's what
But
you.
this is an elegant type of grouse recipe. A grouse breast hors d'oeuvres. You could do this with, you could use chicken if you wanted. But it's a great way to serve grouse breasts. So think about that. Give you another motive for going out and grouse hunting this fall.
For sure.
Okay, Ed, how would somebody get a hold of this recipe?
They can write to us here at Michigan Outdoors, Box 1, East Lansing, Michigan, 48823.
I tell you, we have had one beautiful fall. I took a slide up in the UP when I was doing a deer hunter's workshop last week. There were some leaves on the tree up there still, but most of them are gone, if not all of them now. I went out lake trout fishing with Richard P. Smith and Dave Rako. Beautiful morning out there off Marquette, but unfortunately we didn't get any lake trout. This lake trout fishing has been kind of spotty, but the hunting is going to get better. Richard says that it's gotten cold up there, the winds are starting to bluster, and they're going to be moving the ducks down, the woodcock on through. I imagine some retirees will even be heading for Florida pretty soon. The bucks are in the rut. Signs look good for a great hunting season. So join us next week and we'll talk more about it right here on Michigan Outdoors. What are we going to do about some grouse, Tom?
We're just going to have to come out some other time where we can get them bunched up a little more. They're sort of scattered.
Well, let's see. The score was with Tom and his double barrel, you got one. Bob and his over and under, you got two.
I got 2.
And me and my trusty single shot that's oft criticized.
Yeah, but your percentage
got four.
was worse
I got
than
four.
ours.
Huh? My
Your percentage was worse.
Okay, I did a lot of shooting.
And that was our flush rate of 10 woodcock and 4 grouse.
10 woodcock and 4 grouse for how many hours? Were we out
Well,
there?
we were close to 3 hours, I guess.
Okay, well, that's not a bad score at all. And we got some eating here. We're going to try. Woodcock requires some creative recipes, actually. How about December grouse hunting?
Here again, that can be pretty decent hunting if the weather is warm and there's no snow on the ground. But in other years, and especially if they're bunched up in the dogwood and whatnot, but it looks like this year they're going to be well spread down this country, and you're going to have to do a lot of walking.
Well, we wanted to get out with Tom Opry and his setter. You think we can get the setters together?
Oh,
And all of us go out? Let's do that in December.
How about a
that?
December grouse hunt? And hopefully we'll shoot better. It's only fair to say that we'd probably had a limit had we been on a little bit better at woodcock.
That's true.
It was good shooting. Good shooting.
Look at, I want you to get a shot here of Garner and to show you this man is a woodsman, okay? You got that right there? There we go. You know that? That was a good day of hunting. Good
Yeah,
dog.
the boy's pretty proud of, especially him. He thinks he's...
Mm-hmm.
You can understand
I was going to bring the other dog, except he just putters around too much. He's forever on point. While he's,
Here, Sam,
Might have
come
been
here.
the bird.
You get a scratch under the chin, too. Look at those eyes. He says, I was hunting grouse and woodcock all day long. I want to go home, watch Michigan Outdoors, and go to bed. That's what I want to do.